Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks again so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Quick look here at Solana, pulling back at that level here, that perfect surprise. Just kidding, back to $170. Potential low, keep in mind 162 is the lower range here for this support level. So just keep in mind there's a decent chance we could still see 164, 165 swept because of liquidation levels that we saw here recently. So we'll double check that again here today. And now if you are new to the channel, just ask you just quickly hit the like button, comment below. If you want to become a better trader, again, CryptoCache.tech is a site. Link down below for that as well. It is actually really awesome. We got some really cool newer community members in our group. So thanks again so much for jumping on board. Make sure you watch through my Trading Academy, of course. Read through the signals guide before you take any trades of mine and just ensure that you are trading with good, proper risk tolerance. So here's that level that we were talking about, 174, that inevitability of liquidation that has already been swept, of course. So big sweep of 174, price wicks down, recovers, little dead cat there. Pulls right back down. Late longs at 171 just got destroyed again. So the price keeps rinsing and repeating this little lower low pattern until it stops. You don't take a trade. Okay, that's really what it boils down to. And when I say don't take a trade, I'm talking about long positions. Obviously, you can short. It's a different story altogether. But it's still pretty risky to short Solana. That's just my personal opinion. We had a bearish backtest of the ascending trend line, pretty much giving us the indication the price is going to pull back. But I still held strong and didn't take a short position. Hindsight, of course, wish I had, totally. But I still feel weird about shorting Solana. That's just me personally. Either way, what I want to get at here is 165 is that lower level liquidation here. That could be the sweep to that lower level, that low 160 range would be an optimal entry. Again, if that even happens. However, at this point, ABC has fulfilled itself. We could even see it come lower, so keep in mind, just because we came down to this tentative support at 169 does not imply that that isn't the bottom. Okay, the bottom could still continue further down. So what we'll do is we'll focus on levels of volume, kind of just talk about that really quick and see where we're at. So the best thing you want to start with initially is to understand the heavy concentration of liquidation, or more so, liquidity, which is volume. And in this case here, we can see a lot of volume right there at about 146. That's the heaviest concentration. So I'm not proposing that Solana is going to pull back to 146. Just saying if it does, we'd see a pretty solid amount of support at that range. And you got to recognize too, we're entering this area where there's not a lot of volume. Okay, we don't have a lot of volume between 150 and 170. So in essence, if the price does end up pulling back, it may spend some time in that range filling that gap, so to speak, right? Not saying there is a fair value gap there either. In fact, we should probably look at that and see there is a lower gap here, of course, still unfilled down as low as 150. So hey, perhaps that is the thought process there. Maybe 150 is the target for a good long position. Again, don't short to that level because we don't have any validation that that is the case, but let's go ahead and find out and see what's going on. No, enough speculation. So talking about moving averages first and foremost, we want to recognize the fact that they are all hanging out in that range. They're all the important SMAs are between 150 and 157. So that does give us a lot of support potential. So the price does pull back to that range. We could very well see it essentially bounce off that level. Okay, we also got a 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level at 157. That would be an optimal entry because again, more recent highs here have given us indication that that is essentially a good support level moving forward. Okay, so me personally, if the price does end up pulling back, I would say 165 seems like an initial target, right? That's right where that liquidation level is. But tertiary or secondary to that, we could see the 150, 157, 158, and then worst case scenario is 150. Okay, so those are like the three areas of consideration for longs if you're considering a dollar cost average. So let's look at the daily time frame. Stochastic RSI is swinging down. That's no surprise. Bitcoin is stochastically swinging down too. We can see RSI is in good shape. Money flow index is pulling back a little harder than usual, at least more so than other coins, which also is sensible considering how overextended Solana became in such a short amount of time. MACD is still converging. We're not in bad shape here. Ultimately, this is a decent situation, decent scenario. So I'm not thinking that we should run for the hills just yet, but I think we should be cautiously optimistic and expect the price to come down a little further before it recovers. Again, Solana is notorious about recovering quickly, so the fact that it hasn't yet is cause for concern. Leads me to believe that the wound is open and it could continue to bleed out. We could see that with a lot of altcoins here soon, so we do want to kind of pay attention to Bitcoin dominance and just kind of see where this is at here. With it dropping and the price of Bitcoin coming down, some alts are going to start to stabilize soon. At least that's the general consensus, but we'll find out. Anyways, 4-hour time frame here, we can see another fair value gap as low as 163. Again, that reaffirms that that lower liquidity level based on liquidation. So I'm thinking we're going to see 165, 164 as the next sweep down, hopefully, potentially the lowest point in which this goes. It could actually be at its lowest point now, don't get me wrong. I'm on board with the fact that we could see a bounce here at that 172, 170 range. We discussed that yesterday being a possibility, right? And we have technically ABC'd our way down to the bottom here, but I think the bottom could still continue. So I would just be cautiously optimistic. We're under 50 on the RSI now. The money flow index is pretty low, and stochastic is trying to swing up, but hasn't yet already. So me personally, when I see these things, we get that shift of momentum under 50 on the RSI, which we haven't seen, by the way, since May 15th. It's been 1 week roughly since we swung below 50 on the RSI. I think there's a decent chance we're going to see further downside. We're also testing the 50-day SMA and below the 20. Generally, those are trend setters letting us know that we're either A on the right or the wrong side of the tracks. So let's take a quick look at the hourly and call it a day here. And just to quickly note, Ichimoku Cloud is going to give us confirmation that you shouldn't open a long position yet. Okay, and that's just the nature of it, right? Again, the cloud is kind of working itself down concurrent with this descending trend line. I would say at the very best, until we break above this descending trend line, we have no reason to take a trade. There's a lot of reasons not to, I guess you could say. Again, lagging spans free and clear, conversion lines below the baseline, we're well below the cloud. You're trading into a problematic scenario if you try to take a long right now. And I get the whole infatuation of buying the dip. That's perfectly fine. You can do that on spot bags, but when it comes to leverage, you want to be careful. You don't want to just jump in here arbitrarily, hope that it recovers because it's a low price point. It's a price point you were looking for. We reevaluate before you jump in, right? Now I get that if you might have set a long position yesterday and then you woke up to a filled position, maybe you consider taking profits on that because you're probably in the green. But different stories here altogether. This is very premature. I think it's too early to take a long. And I would say that waiting a little bit longer, even if the price doesn't come back down and you totally miss out, I would much rather feel FOMO than to get into a long position that goes instantly in the red. Okay? So again, patience is key, folks. It's okay. At this point, though, I do think it's pretty safe to presume the price should come a little bit lower here. And I'm going off of the bias that Bitcoin is going to pull back to the 66, 67,000 range too. While it's not a guarantee, it's a probability. And at the same time, we're seeing that with Solana as well for this lower range here. So again, let me just reiterate and reaffirm those levels I was talking about. I would say standard consideration for that low 160, 165 would be the first liquidation level that gets swept. That's probably a distinct consideration for the price to pull back to. Secondary to that, 158 as a round number. I'm rounding up a little bit. And then, of course, tertiary to that, where all the moving averages are hanging out, that fair value gap on the daily that's the low 150. So I'd say 151, 158, and 165. Those are the three areas I pay attention to. I'll recap that as a short here later today, as a matter of fact, because I get a lot of requests for those updates that I've been providing. So if you're not familiar, I do provide Bitcoin updates for the moment and effectively help understand, at least on a daily perspective, what's going on and try to summarize where we're at in the market. So check those out. Those shorts are available on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Telegram, Discord, pretty much every single platform. Whatever one works best for you, just pick the best one for you down below. Also, make sure you pick this one too. Phenomenal exchange, folks. Awesome rewards. Use my link to register. Highly recommend BitUnix. They've been great to our community. Thank you for watching, and do not forget to like before you leave. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.